Hey guys, Mark here with another edition of Weaponized Truth. I've kind of taken a step back from doing my videos lately. Uh, Everything is a mess. Seems like everybody, whether you're on the left or the right or whatever, seems to be lying about absolutely everything, and it's just getting a bit ridiculous. Things seem to be spiraling out of control, although the media and such is making an all out onslaught and trying to make things look much worse than they actually are. But we need to talk about technology for a minute, you guys. You may have heard about some of this already. I don't realize, or I don't know if people really realize the full implications of what's going on with Google, but this is a pretty big deal. I've done a couple of videos about this before, and it doesn't seem to garner very much attention. And so I hope for those of you who are actually seeing this video will take the time in whatever way you think is best to share this, whether it be just to share like the video or just to make your own video or to record my video and put it on your channel. I don't really care, but this is pretty crazy. Um, Now, what I want to talk to you guys about is this big 2.7 billion dollar antitrust ruling that was done against Google. And the reason why I have the search results pulled up here is because I think that this is important. Um, I think this demonstrates precisely why this ruling was made and why this ruling probably affects about 80 to 90% of the people on the planet. Google seems to have made uh, its way into everything. Everybody's using, I mean, unless you have like an iPhone or something, maybe not so much, but Android is pretty much the dominating market for cell phones, which everybody uses for everything these days. Whether it be paying for stuff with your little smart apps, or getting directions from the map, or just searching things on Google. All of this stuff is all Google stuff. And everybody uses Google for everything, for all sorts of stuff. And well, what happened with this ruling is it turned out that people discovered that Google was controlling the algorithms of the search engines. Now, keep in mind, it's not like there's a law saying that you have to use Google. But the simple fact of the matter is pretty much at this time, um, Google kind of has a whole bunch of things that they do that for whatever reason, um, no one seems to have a true alternative for. They seem to have a monopoly on quite a few things. Google Maps is a pretty big time thing that I would say that 70% of the planet uses, if not more. Um, YouTube, even though there's other places you can upload videos, no one is truly a competitor to YouTube. They pretty much own the video market. And of course, YouTube is, of course, owned by Google. Now, what I want to show you here is now what happened with this case is it turns out there's a whole bunch of different businesses that Google owns under its umbrella of corporations and a bunch of services that Google offers. And now this is their website. They don't force anybody to go to their search engine, but it turns out that if people do go to their search engine and they look for products or they look for services that may possibly be done by a company that is under the Google umbrella of companies, the Google search results will put them over their competitors, even if their competitors' website should normally appear above theirs, because you would assume that the order in which these websites would appear on Google would have something to do with how much revenue this company earns or how much traffic their website gets. You'd think it'd just be a couple of basic factors, primarily web traffic, I would assume, would have a lot to do with what order that these things show up in your search engine when you look for something on Google. But what they were doing is they were making sure that their companies that offer services for people, when people look for that service, they were making sure that the Google companies were appearing before other companies, which should not have been happening if a search engine worked ideally like most people think that it would. Now, I will say this. Google owns this website. This is just a series of text on a computer screen that people have to hook up through some kind of computer or computer type device. They don't put a gun to anybody's head and force them to go to Google. But once again, because they seem to have a monopoly on pretty much all sorts of stuff, I would say 70, 80%, 90% of the planet use Google probably on a daily basis. Now, so they have the right, theoretically, to do whatever the hell they want on their own website. Just like YouTube has the right to censor, ban whoever the hell they want on their own website. Once again, this is a Google company, but that's not even why I bring it up. I'm just saying, places like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, of course, they ban people and censor people and demonetize people all the time for various reasons. Now, obviously, if they don't do these things with an equal set of rules for everybody, and this is done, on a fair level playing field, it wouldn't really be anything anybody could say about it because it's their website. They can do whatever they want, but at the same time, these are businesses. And like, for example, when you work in a business, there's quite a few laws that apply to the workplace. There's tons and tons of laws, to be honest. And of course, among them being is everybody has to be treated equally. For example, women win lawsuits all the time because they'll be doing the same job or more of a job than men in the same company are and making way less money. And obviously stuff like this is against the law. So some people's beefs with what some of these websites are doing with censoring people is obviously legitimate, because you aren't allowed to just, well, I would think that, I don't even know, to be honest, but it would seem to me that there would be some, and you would think with some of these rulings and stuff that there's some kind of basic laws that kind of govern what's going on in the internet, and obviously they're doing more and more attempts to pass bills to get greater and greater control over the internet and over what you say on the internet. There's been quite a few instances lately where people have even went to jail for things they text or type on the internet or whatever. Like I think this guy was charged with attempted manslaughter for sending tweets to this reporter who has epilepsy, and he sent him flashy gifs. And even though he doesn't force this guy to log on to Twitter and read this stuff, I think this dude was charged with a crime. Just like this other chick was, charged with some type of manslaughter for talking to this dude on the phone while he was trying to kill himself, and they wanted to blame her for what she was saying and what she was texting this guy. And it's just crazy. I'm not saying that with some of these people is necessarily right or wrong. I'm not taking a side. I'm just taking a side for free speech. People can say whatever they want, in my opinion. But, when it comes to the internet, they're making speech a crime all the time. But, I don't know, y'all. The internet's kind of like it's kind of like the Wild West, and when the Wild West first started, everybody walked around wearing guns, and eventually they just beat down society for a couple hundred years or whatever the hell it was, maybe 1,000. And eventually got most of the population to believe that if you carried around a gun, that you were some kind of criminal. Somehow they've managed to get it to where like 98% of the people carried around guns, to where maybe 10% of the people carry around guns, and usually they're concealed. And slowly but surely they're doing the same thing to the internet. And they're breaking things down to where eventually they're going to break down the internet just like they did the Wild West. And they're going to have you holster your keyboard and not be able to carry your keyboard around and say whatever you want, or you're probably just some type of criminal. Now, what they've been doing is Google's been putting their own websites above competitors' websites who should be above their own. In order to make more money. Now, it is my opinion, this is Google's website. They don't force anybody to go to this website. Okay? So if people want to believe everything that Google says and go by their search results, they deserve whatever they get. In my personal opinion, I think rolling this $2.7 million lawsuit against them is a bit unfair. But considering the global implications and that almost everybody on the planet uses this thing, you can't just let them do whatever the hell they want. But they have been, and they will continue to do so, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Now, for any of you who have been paying attention, one of the biggest problems going on in the world today, especially here in the United States, is the media. See, unfortunately in this country we have freedom of press. And the problem with freedom of press, apparently, it gives these people the freedom to lie their ass off, stage events, use unnamed sources or no sources at all, and make stories up and call to assassinate the president on a daily basis. Apparently, this is what freedom of the press means to these whack jobs in the media. And I just wanted to show you when I look at the search results for this case that came up against Google, and the top results you have here: the New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, Wall Street Journal, Politico are all on the very first page when I type in Google find 500 million. I couldn't remember the exact figure, and I imagine different search results will give you a couple of different things, but I'm guessing if you keep doing a lot of searches, it's going to come up very similar. So a lot of these people who constantly push out fake news, like the New York Times, even Forbes is caught making up stories now, Washington Post, LA Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Politico, all big people who have participated in some really, really, very, very fake news, are all number one on the Google search engine. And there's no way to actually know if these articles are simply there by the amount of traffic that they garnered, or they're simply there because Google wanted these particular websites' articles to be the ones that appeared first. And that's the thing, is because Google runs its own website, when you decide to go search for tennis shoes or a new TV or a new car or a robot girlfriend or a D-Wave quantum computer so you can open a time portal and bring the gods over from Saturn or whatever the hell it is that's going on in this crazy ass world, Google can put whatever the hell results they want. It's their website. But 80 to 90% of the population probably uses Google to look up everything. And usually people are going to scan through the top couple of hits and base their decision on what pops up on Google. Even though it could be a complete and total lie, because you're automatically going to think that this is automatically going to pull up, some kind of shop or store or website or whatever, based on the amount of traffic or money they make, or there's got to be some reasonable things people would expect them to be there. But it's Google's website. I'm sure all of their algorithms are some kind of trade secret that are copyright protected, that no one knows exactly what they all do. Okay. So if Google can put the websites of the companies that make them money above search results for companies that are actually better, more trusted, get more traffic, make more money, or more dependable, or whatever, if they can do that with that, certainly they can do that with stories about the election, stories about the polls, stories about anything. So the simple fact is Google is dictating to you what their version of the truth is. And the problem is 80 to 90% of the planet is believing Google's version of the truth because they follow their algorithms and their search results. They see a couple of links pop up and they click one. They give you the illusion of choice when you see like 20 results there. But what do you do when like 18 of them are actually results that are going to make Google money? Now, keep in mind, Google's the type of company, super rich people that hang around with other super rich people. And they can sit around with their little buddies and say, hey, can you bump me up to page 1 on the search engine for such and such a result? They can do that. Even if it's some bullshit ass company that's ripping everybody off. algorithms and places like Google are controlling the lives of everybody on this planet by giving you the illusion of choice. Kind of like they do in most elections when you got 2 or 3 candidates. Right? They give you the illusion of choice. But when your only choices are between getting shot in the head, shot in the chest, or shot in the heart, not really much choices, are they? Because they kind of all have the same result. And that's kind of what's going on with Google. That's kind of what's going on with the media. Because you can choose between the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and the LA Times and the Washington Post and CNN, and all these other places. And pretty much all of them, even Fox, are going to give you some fake ass news. And they'll give you the illusion of choice while they're feeding you bullshit. Technology's great. But the main thing, what is the main thing that makes technology great that everybody is so in awe of? Convenience. Everybody wants instant gratification. I want my money and I want it now. I want to pay with my stuff with my phone right now. I want to buy stuff with my phone and have it here now. I want to talk to somebody on the other side of the planet from my phone right now. Convenience is nice. It's very nice. But at what price and at what cost? And how many lies are you willing to believe? And how many illusions of choice is the planet going to fall victim to before we start realizing that we've created a monster that we just can't control? This is Mark from Weaponized Truth. You guys take care.